Okay, we got that out of the way. I, Tonya, directed by Craig Gillespie and stars Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, and Allison Janney. The film is a not-so-reliable account of the famous Nancy Kerrigan affair, the one to which Tonya Harding may have conspired to injure Nancy Kerrigan. In the history of biopics, I've never seen a film that so unashamedly said, in all likelihood, you can't trust anything you see during the span of this movie. And it's amazing because on the side of seeing the story unfold, you're also seeing interview segments with Tonya Harding, Jeff, her on-again, off-again, very unstable husband, and her abusive mother, played by Allison Janney. You can't, in any shape, way, or form, take any of this as gospel because everyone concerned who's actually confessing or talking about this are unreliable witnesses. Now, that's not to say that you can't at least sympathize with where they're coming from, but what's amazing is even through the lies they tell, or even just what is obviously done to kind of maintain what little dignity these people have left, you can get a nice peer into their soul, into the idea that these people do come from a very low background. Some of them have come through abuse, and some of them are the abusers. And you get it. You understand where they're coming from, which makes it a very invigorating watch because you know you can't take any of this for real, but at the same time, you can definitely believe the reason why they would have to lie at the same time. So for a biopic, it made for a very fun shell game in a way. Find the lie, find the lie, find the lie, find the truth, find the lie, find the lie. And it's kind of fun for that. You can still find something to sympathize with this person who is not a great person by any shape, way, or form, but she still is a person who has worked her butt off to get where she is. And the one thing this movie does incredibly well is show the hard work that goes into figure skating and to work your way up that level. It's known that, and it's also a very expensive venture. And here's Tonya and her mother having to pour money into what could be the thing that puts them on the map, but they come from such a low social standing that they only know what it is to be, well, let's face it, white trash. And to have to try to ascend in this world where you're surrounded by people who can afford to put down $5,000 for outfits, for skates, and for rink time. It's utterly cutthroat. And the film has no problem showing that off too. And actually, I kind of like that. It vilifies the establishment. Sometimes people are forced to do really stupid, very illegal stuff because unfortunately, all they ever seem to know is walls all around them. And as they say, when you hit a wall, push right through it. And that's what these characters do. But unfortunately, when you push through anything, you end up leaving a mess. And when you leave a mess, people are going to come at you. And that's what this movie does, and it's wonderful for it. And it's also conveyed not just through exceptionally good direction by Craig Gillespie. Meanwhile, you've got an incredible array of performances, all from main actors who you know for one other thing, and absolutely flip that on its head for their performances here. Margot Robbie, who most people will now know as one of the only good things in Suicide Squad from her performance as Harley Quinn. She is unrecognizable, and it is an incredible performance. I've even said this in my review of 3 Billboards. I utterly love it when an actress or actor is able to play a character who normally you're supposed to sympathize with, but has no problem showing a darker side of them that make you kind of iffy on it. I like being challenged by characters, and that's a great thing in this movie, especially because of it being Tonya Harding. And that's what made this one such a fun one to watch. Then you got Sebastian Stan, who of course everyone knows as the mentally tormented but equally badass Winter Soldier in the MCU. He is an absolute worm. And I mean that in every applicable sense of the term. On one side, being totally insecure, he's an idiot, he is an abuser. I mean, they say, yeah, he gets violent a lot. As a strategist, he is an absolute numbskull. And it is hilarious watching this actor who we're usually seeing playing such a force of nature in another franchise all of a sudden turn around and play this pathetic individual in different modes. And that's what made it so much fun to watch. Stuff like this makes me excited to see what they can do outside of their safe zones. And then, meanwhile, you got Allison Janney, who, if you watch The West Wing, know that she is one of the best things in it. But then to see Allison Janney play, yeah, once again, the complete flip side. She is utterly despicable in every scene she's in. Even in scenes when you think she's trying to be accessible, no, she's just as despicable. Every single time you see her, she sinks to a new low. And there's even a point in the movie, which I'm not going to tell you, but you think in any biopic there's always going to be that reconciliation scene, but then she does something else which just shatters it. And the movie unashamedly does that. Here you have what should be something where you're supposed to sympathize with these people. And while on one side you can, but you know that in the end these are all horrible people, and that you can't take any eyewitness testimonial from them as gospel, because you know that these people are going to lie to preserve their integrity, to preserve their dignity. It is absolutely amazing that you have a film that very unashamedly says, in all likelihood, this is bullshit. That being said, I'd say one of the things that really does weigh this movie down is that there are bits of repetition in it, specifically regarding the relationship between Tonya and Jeff, in that they get separated a lot and then they get back together a lot. And they focus on that a lot, of all the time she gets together with him, she bails on him, and all that. And that did get a touch repetitious at times. I mean, stuff like that could be, I don't want to say truncated, maybe montaged a bit, because what's important here is to focus on the fact that Tonya begrudgingly needs Jeff, but at the same time wants to be rid of him because she knows he weighs her down. In a fashion, winds up being her downfall, and that's actually kind of an interesting perspective. But still, there are ways you can kind of get to that point and not have to dwell on each and every moment of it. It all comes down to pacing, and that is the one thing that does weigh this down a good amount, to the point where I was going, okay, let's get to it. And I gotta applaud the film for one thing. Here I'm going like, okay, let's get to it. Then all of a sudden, here's a part where Tonya Harding goes, "Yep, here's a part y'all came for," and I'm like, okay, fine. So overall, I, Tonya is another excellent addition to the biopic genre, and I wish it the best come the continued award season. It's already gotten a lot of awards nominations. Definitely think if there's anyone who's going to be my favorite in the time to come, it's going to be Allison Janney, but I think all of them are incredible. I hope this is one of those ones that doesn't get swallowed up after the Oscars are done. I hope this is one that people want to keep watching in the years to come, because it's wonderful. It's a blast. It's hilarious. It's shocking. It's also uncomfortable, and that is why I'm going to give it my final Narcotic Casserole rating of... Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this film should have tried its best to be as true as possible? Or do you love the fact that the film absolutely screws with your perception of truth? Leave it in the comments below. And for more addictive content on Narcotic Casserole, simply like, share, subscribe, click. Thou shalt be served.